point.
I'm sure he's eyeing me up for tea.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll make a pair of boots out of you, mate, if you're not careful.
Death in that situation would be unavoidable. There would have been some fatalities from that scene. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning in, and also welcome to my new subscribers. It's really nice to have you here. In today's video, I want to talk about a long-running TV series that we've had here in the UK probably for about 20 years, and I'm ashamed that this show is British. I'm ashamed of it because it is that disgusting and primitive. The title of this show is I'm an Invertebrate, Get Me Out. Oh no, that's not it. It's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. It's a bit of a misleading title because it almost makes it sound like the celebrities aren't there consensually. You know, like they were kidnapped in the middle of the night and bundled onto the back of a van with a pillowcase over their head and then like dumped in the middle of the Australian jungle and held there against their will. But no, they are very much consenting. They would have agreed on the terms with their agents, they would have signed a contract, and they would have hopped on a plane to the other side of the world, and they're free to leave whenever they want. Unlike the show's other participants, the non-human participants, who have not consented, and they're pretty much there against their will. This show, to them, from their perspective, is more like Hunger Games. You may or may not survive. And it's the non-human participants in this show that I want to talk about in this video. So the show's premise is like these, I don't know, like Z-list celebrities or struggling celebrities who are trying to like reclaim their careers, who all agree to go and take part in this spectacle where they basically camp out in the jungle, and they're filmed to be there for I don't know however many weeks it is. It's usually on running up to Christmas time, which is fine. That part of the show I don't have a problem with, but there's another part of this show which is what it's famous for, and it happens once a week, and it's called Bush Tucker Trials. So in these Bush Tucker Trials, these celebrities have to do things that give them, that are like stars that can then get them treats, them and their campmates treats like cake and stuff like that, and food, extra things. But the trouble with these trials is that they involve using animals, and the kind of animals that they use are the type of animals that most humans don't find attractive. So creatures, you know, like invertebrates, reptiles, or they do have seen some larger animals used, like ostriches, and they use some mammals as well, like rats. So there's a lot of different animals that they use, but I think the thing that all these animals have in common is that they are not considered aesthetically pleasing by humans. Now, if you imagine if it was puppies and kittens in these trials, so the celebrities, they have to like wiggle through tunnels, and you know, tunnels filled with like alligators and like pits with snakes in them and stuff like that. I'll show a few examples at the end of the video, so you can see what I mean about how cruel this is. I just think the hypocrisy of people, because if this show, if it wasn't snakes being used and instead they were using like puppies and kittens, there'd be outcry, there'd be protests, like the show would have been axed. I mean, it probably wouldn't have even hit the boardroom because no one would have that, puppies and kittens crushed by celebrities, you know, squashed and screamed at and all the rest of it. So that's just an example of public speciesism. Speciesism is basically the human idea of how we treat an animal based on what that animal can do for us or how they look to us. So love a pup but exploit a toad for this program, say, but to both the puppy and the toad, their life experience matters equally to them. So we should leave them both alone, no matter what they look like. They deserve to live freely from harm and exploitation. I was actually looking through clips of the show, of these Bush Tucker Trials with the animals that they use, for examples for this video, just to show how poorly treated the animals are and how much they're suffering. But what I've noticed is that the camera never hovers for too long on one of the animals. You know, it will be like a split-second shot of an animal and then straight back to the screaming celebrity. And I think the reason why they do that is because if that camera hovers for too long on an animal, then the average viewer will be able to see how much that animal is suffering and how frightened they are.
What am I going to do, stand up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand up. Now, but have a feel around. Have a feel on the floor.
That's crickets, cockroaches, and mealworms
Am I going the right way?
Feel on the
to
floor.
feel on the ground.
Am I going the right way?
Behind you,
Behind
try
you.
behind you, behind you. Got it.
I am.
Well done. 3 stars in the bag.
So that was crickets, cockroaches and mealworms. Now obviously we don't know enough about the sentience of invertebrates, insects like mealworms and cockroaches and things, but you know, you still don't, just because they're less sentient than humans or they're less sentient than other animals, it doesn't mean that you can just crush them like in the hundreds. Like, I know the thing is, you can be walking, anyone could be walking down the road and accidentally step on a bug, and it's an accident. You may not have even known you've done it, but that's just part of life. It's an accident. But this guy, he's not intentionally stamping on these animals, but he's in this tiny enclosed space, and the production company they've dumped hundreds, what looks like hundreds, if not thousands, I'd say hundreds, of cockroaches, mealworms, crickets onto this guy. And you can see that obviously they're getting crushed, that's avoidable. Like, death in that situation would be unavoidable. There would have been some fatalities from that scene, because you can see that he's standing on them and that he's kneeling on them. And yeah, people don't seem to care about them because they're bugs. People are like, oh, who cares about bugs? But I mean, the cockroaches that are used on this show, they're not the regular like Americana cockroaches that, you know, people like generally associate with house infestations or like disease or whatever. The cockroaches that they use in this show will be like jungle cockroaches. So they'll live on the forest floor eating leaf litter. They're completely harmless. They're just innocent, harmless animals, and that's why these animals are picked on by this show. But the thing with cockroaches, that there is some level of sentience there. I've seen footage of cockroaches being trained. Like, people have trained like Madagascan hissing cockroaches to do little assault courses. So if they can be trained, then that means that they have a memory. They remember things. So if they have a memory, then obviously there is a level of sentience there, and we can't just go around crushing and stamping on them for entertainment.
I want the star. I only want the star. I don't want you.
That's it, nice and gently. Move them gently.
I don't want you.
You'll get the star.
I only want the star. Oh, I've got the star. I've got the star. I've got the star.
You got it.
Don't bite.
Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got the star.
All right, take it easy. Take it easy.
Remember, there's like a face in my hand.
There's no real time limit on this, Paul, so nice and slowly. Don't get bitten on the way out.
They're making noises in there. Somebody's invaded their nest.
Quite clearly see that those rats are really distressed. Like, obviously rats are tunneling animals. They do live in quite confined, tight spaces anyway, but enormous arm, it's one thing to live in a tight, cramped space. Another thing for a huge arm to come into your space that you can't, you know, a space that you've literally probably just been put into and you can't escape from. They're all crammed in together, and you can clearly see when the camera stopped for a second, one of those rats looked quite clearly very distressed and cramped and uncomfortable.
Good point.
I'm sure he's eyeing me up for a tea.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll make a pair of boots out of you, mate, if you're not careful.
That crocodile, I mean, I don't know where that crocodile came from. But they could very well, that could be their road that they're headed down. They could come from a crocodile farm and end up quite literally as a handbag or a pair of boots. The way crocodiles are treated for clothing and footwear is vile. So the fact that, you know, that can be joked about and laughed at on mainstream TV is just like, it's just stone aged, really. It's just like something from, like, it amazes me that we've created AI, we travel into space, we've advanced so much technologically, but we still do like such backward things like this for entertainment, like just terrorizing the other animals that we share this planet with.
Nice one for that.
Oh my God. Stay very still, Jamie. Seriously, Jamie, stay really still.
You okay?
You okay? You got a minute left. Don't move suddenly because they're all over you. Get you out as safely as possible, all right?
Thanks, mate.
Okay, okay.
Are you okay?
What about, they keep asking him, are you okay? Are you okay? I mean, if I watched that clip all the way from the beginning, but it was quite a long clip, but you can see that the snakes were pushed in through those tunnels in the sides. They were literally like pushed in. And as soon as they're all crammed into this pit with this massive giant monster from their perspective, they're like trying to get out. They're trying to escape, but they're like climbing up the walls, which is why so many of them, you can see them climbing up the walls. They're trying to find a way out. And then one of them has clearly got to the top, hit the top, lost its balance, and then fallen and landed on the man. But that is not not a comfortable position for a snake to be in, to be upside down like that. Those animals are panicked and frightened.
Get the stars out. Whoa! 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 In there!
Yeah, fuck.
You're gonna get it, Dean. You're gonna get that.
Shows the ITV's utter disregard for life, doesn't it? I mean, those animals, they were crayfish. I think Australians call them yabbies, but they didn't ask to be there. They were forced there into this cramped situation where this giant pair of feet come along and start kicking them up into the air, just flinging them around. Of course there's going to be injuries, animals being crushed, chucked around, thrown up into the air. And the thing that worries me so much about this show is that it's encouraging this disregard for life, like this utter disrespect for nature. You know, they're here for us to laugh at and to be disgusted by and to crush and squash and throw. And what kind of message does that put to most people? And I think when people are watching things like this on the television, then of course they're more likely to then go out and be cruel to animals themselves, because they're seeing it on TV and they think it's okay. So, I mean, it really upsets me, really disappoints me. I can't believe that this show was ever commissioned in the first place, let alone how long it's been running. I'm amazed that it's still running. It's been, PETA is constantly asking them to axe the show. I mean, even the RSPCA. Personally, I think there's a business opportunity in that for the RSPCA. I'm a Celebrity has apparently invited the RSPCA on set to have a look and see that they are adhering to all the local welfare guidelines. You never know, RSPCA might go and check it out, given a bit of hush money by ITV, and then the next thing you know, next year it will be I'm a Celebrity sponsored by the RSPCA. So I wouldn't trust them. But I mean, if even the RSPCA have criticised this show, I mean, it's just the pits, really. So if you're against animal exploitation, if you respect animals, and if you believe that animals aren't here to be mocked and crushed and laughed at, then do not tune in to this show, because it's like supply and demand. These shows, they are as successful as the ratings that they have. So the thing that keeps these shows going is how many people turn on the telly and tune in. So you have, as a viewer, you might think, I'm just one little person sitting here watching this show, it's not going to change anything. It does. Just like with anything, your view is a vote. What you do with your money is a vote. Your behaviour very much impacts the other animals that we share this planet with. So thank you very much for watching, and please do boycott I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. It's very much time this show is axed. As I said before, it should never have been aired. Help out the animals, help out the wildlife, and change the channel when I'm a Celebrity comes on the telly. So that's it, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see you again in the next one.